And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of This Freakin' Show, the weekly podcast with a little bit of something and a whole lot of nothing. I am your host, Travis D, and with me, as always,
Awkward Colin.
And Geek Cast Joe.
And this episode of This Freakin' Show is brought to you by Fire Pit Bar and Grill Piaton. If you're looking for a down-home country restaurant with great burgers, cold beer, a tremendous atmosphere, and live music you can enjoy, come down to Fire Pit Bar and Grill Piaton. You can find them on Facebook at Fire Pit Bar or on the website firepitbar.com. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, every Monday and Wednesday at Fire Pit, you can enjoy a burger and beer for just $6.99.
I said it last night like 4 times. I'll say it again. That is a great price for.
I know, right? And the only difference between last night and tonight is that this tonight is actually going to be heard, where last night was a huge bust and didn't go anywhere at all. So,
yes.
Real quick before we get into what we're doing tonight, it's so weird because I know we said all this stuff yesterday, but I'm going to say it again so all you guys can hear it. Last week we put out a podcast that I think we can all agree with wasn't probably our best.
I would agree with that.
It was a lot of hours at work. It was a lot of hours of school that finally just kind of just built up into one exhausted ball. And we kind of just, I want to say we belly flopped pretty hard last week. We didn't really stick to like our plans for the show as far as our freak weeks, promoting the other podcasts, promoting the songs and everything. And for those of you who sat through that whole massacre, hey, congrats! I'm proud of you. You know, I gotta say it's gotta be better than Geely, because that fucking movie was a bore. But we're gonna do better. We're definitely gonna do a lot better. And actually, what we did last week kind of inspired us to make an even better show that kind of helped make what we're doing tonight possible. Before we get into that, does anybody have anything they want to share? Anything new? Anything exciting?
No.
Nah.
No? Perfect. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to take as much time as we can. So, really quickly, we're going to promote a podcast real quick, and then we're going to introduce our guest, and we're going to have a great time. So, real quick, listen to this promo for the Jock and Nerd podcast.
Do you ever wonder when Spider-Man goes to the bathroom if the toilet paper sticks to his fingers?
Do you ever wonder why Superman wears his underwear outside of his pants?
My name is Imran.
My name is Anthony.
He's the Jock.
And he's the nerd.
And we're your hosts for the Jock and Nerd podcast, where we sometimes try to attempt to answer these questions.
This is a full spoiler podcast, and we swear a lot.
Check it out for awesome geek news, interviews, and comic book reviews. Visit jockandnerd.com. We are your superhero TV, movies, and comic book culture curators.
Boom.
Jockandnerd.com. Jock and Nerd.
Yeah, so check out Jock and Nerd podcast. It's a good podcast. I listen to a few of their shows, and they're fun to listen to. It's great for a long ride if you need something to listen to. Speaking of great podcasts to listen to, we wanted to make this show special, a little more to it. And I figured the best way we could do this is to have a fellow podcaster come on with us. Right? I mean,
that makes sense to me.
Right? Someone else talk.
Anyone.
That's me.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you, the host of GeekDig Pod, Clint.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Excellent. Good. Welcome.
I'm doing good. Clint, thanks for coming on. Real quick, would you like to tell kind of everyone a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Well, I live here in the Chicago area, out in the suburbs, and I do a lot of podcasting, a lot of gaming. I work for Redbox doing tech support. So, I'm pretty much just a big geek surrounded by a bunch of big geeks and doing a bunch of big geek stuff.
Well,
nice.
That's perfect, because I think then you will get along with Geek Cast Joe fairly well.
Probably.
Cool.
Sounds like it anyway.
Oh, yeah. So, so what we want to do with this show, and like I said, I mean, we got a lot of time, so, I mean, I want to really get in depth with what we're doing. But basically, to get an idea of what we're doing, is each of you, Awkward Colin, Geek Cast Joe, and Clint. Clint, I'm going to call you the Vengeful Jedi. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Cool.
That's actually what everybody pretty much calls me.
Cool. I'm gonna call you the Vengeful Jedi because I want to incorporate that into our show because I'm a big fan of nicknames. Because like fucking Succotash said, everyone likes to hide behind nicknames. So I still hate those fucking people.
They're our arch nemesis podcast. They don't really know it.
Yeah, they have no idea.
It's,
Have you ever heard of Succotash? By the way, just curious.
No.
Okay, awesome. I was waiting for you to say, well, actually, my best friend's the host of that. But it was just a podcast. They kind of just pulled a bunch of podcasts together and badmouthed the shit out of them. I'm sure they didn't do it like in a way that they wanted to disrespect them, but they did it. It hurt my feelings, and I'm a bitter person because of it. But yeah, so we hide behind nicknames, I guess. But anyways, beyond that, we're getting into fun, adventurous times now. Basically, what we're doing on this show tonight is we're taking 3 animated Disney movies, original Disney movies, and what we're doing is we are casting the live action characters. We're going to change the plot line of the show or of the movie, and then we're going to give it like a new title. For example, Alice in Wonderland. We're going to recast the character. We're not doing Alice in Wonderland, but per an example, if you will, you would change the title of it to be like Alice in Wonderland, The Final Tea Party, Alice in Wonderland, The Last of the Mad Hatter, examples like that. So what we're doing tonight is Geek Cast Joe is doing Pinocchio. Vengeful Jedi will be doing the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Dam? What is it, Dom?
probably a star. I think we're in America. You can say Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. And
But it is French, so it is technically Notre Dame. But
I'm going to go with Notre Dame. Notre Dame. I'm going to say that.
perfect.
Notre Dame. And Awkward Con will be doing Aladdin.
Yay, that's me.
That's Awkward Con right there. But like I said, we got enough time on this podcast. Literally drove through the beginning as quick as possible because I would love to get in this discussion. And while we're doing this, towards the end, we could sit there and kind of like throw our ideas on like, hey, I like that person, but what about this person, so on and so forth. Sound good to everybody?
Yep. You bet.
Yeah.
Excellent. Jedi, I don't want to throw you right into it. I actually want you to go second. I would like Geek Cast Joe to go first.
You betcha.
Awesome. I was actually hoping to not go first.
Well, I tried to work because I know Colin doesn't like going first. Colin's more of a last kind of guy because he is best for last, of course.
Yay, that's me.
And at the same time, I didn't just want to throw you right into the fire. I like to warm up that pan first.
Sounds good.
Perfect. So, Joey, we are looking at Pinocchio. So, who is your live action cast?
All right, my live action cast. And I didn't know how deep we were supposed to go into this, so I went to the IMDb page and just picked the named characters and chose all of them. My Pinocchio is Isabel Allen. She was the little girl who played young Cosette in Les Mis. And I recast my Pinocchio as female. Just getting out of the way right now.
Okay.
My Geppetto is going to be played by Gary Oldman.
I like that.
Nice.
I like that.
Jiminy Cricket is played by Andy Serkis.
Who's Andy Serkis?
He was the guy who did Gollum in Lord of the Rings and all of the Oompa Loompas in the recent Willy Wonka movie.
And also Supreme Leader Snoke in
The Force Awakens.
Yeah, brain fart.
I like how I googled circus as in like a carnival circus, and it brought the guy up automatically anyway.
I bet that's a really common thing. Let's see here. As for my... Oh, and the Blue Fairy, who I actually also think is a villain. But anyway, I decided to mix that up a bit too, and I went with Jennifer Hudson. I was thinking Amy Adams, but then I thought my cast needed to be a little more diverse. So...
Yeah, now, real quick, why did you decide to go with a female for Pinocchio?
Because I've decided my my subtitle, the name of my Pinocchio movie is Pinocchio, Queen of Lies, And for that to work, I needed to have a female Pinocchio. So I imagine that what she does is she likes to tell lies that cause her nose to stab people through the heart. She's a very villainous Pinocchio.
So where are we rating this? Is this an R-rated movie then?
PG-13.
Okay.
Yep. Let's see here. Who else did I... Oh, and then my two villains, Jay Worthington Foulfellow, who was the... in the animated version, he was the wolf who was kidnapping children and selling them to Stromboli. Mm-hmm. I have him played by Michael Kelly, who is the... he plays Doug Stamper in House of Cards. He's a very creepy-looking dude, and I think he'd pull off the role really well. And then my Stromboli, based largely on his performance in the Daredevil TV show on Netflix, is Vincent D'Onofrio.
Gotcha.
So, nice big guy, very villainous.
All right. Did you happen to cast the kid that Pinocchio got drunk with?
Yes. Asa Butterfield, who played the role I know him from is Hugo, which came out a few years ago.
And he was also Ender in Ender's Game.
Oh, I didn't. Now that you say that, I recognize him. I haven't seen that movie.
I saw it. It was okay. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the book, but I'll save that comparison for later.
So now we're looking at the fact that with Pinocchio, with your rendition of Pinocchio's live action now, Pinocchio, the female Pinocchio, intentionally lies to make her nose grow longer to kill people.
Yes.
Okay, where does Jiminy Cricket fall into this?
I hadn't thought about that. That's a really good question.
I know, right? I'm throwing these out there. That's okay. Just think about it as I keep asking questions.
You bet.
Okay, perfect. All right, now we're still keeping the whale scene.
Oh yeah.
Is Geppetto going and searching for her? Does he know what she's doing?
I'm gonna say yes, he is. Oh man, see now you're making me rethink this whole thing in a way that.
Well, no, don't rethink it. Don't rethink it. We're gonna build off of it, and we can do.
No, I know. I'm just like, well, now I'm thinking like, would it be better to do a version of Pinocchio that's basically Pinocchio but like taken, but with like a really inept dad, like Geppetto versus Liam Neeson's.
Could this be? I'm not, and it literally just popped in my head, so I don't want you to change anything, but I'm just asking, could this be a movie where she started out as a real girl doing villainous things, and she is cursed by becoming a puppet?
Yes, I really like that a lot.
Right,
and
then she has to do good. She has to be better to turn back into a real girl, and maybe
really like
Jimmy Cricket's the one that turns her into that puppet because that's her conscience.
I like that. Well, maybe he doesn't turn her into it, but he definitely helps her turn back into a real girl.
What if Geppetto turned her into it? He's like a wizard or something like that, or maybe just an evil dad, or just a dad who's fed up, and he does something, and he asks for the wish, make my daughter better, make her a better person, because deep down he knows what she's doing, and then the fairy comes in and turns her into a wooden female puppet, and then here comes Geppetto, showing her the way to be better, and then unfortunately, she does lie, and her nose does grow, and like she's not doing good, so she's not becoming. Then she goes out and she gets drunk with this kid, which is another bad thing. I don't know if you keep the whole turning into a donkey thing, but I mean, maybe,
I don't. Yeah.
And then somewhere down the road, Geppetto gets like kind of fed up with it, a little upset by it, because he made her. It's his fault. It's his wish that turned her into this. Now he has to go out and find her.
That's
fantastic. Here comes the whale scene.
That's really good. I really liked it a lot.
Right? This should be a movie now. I'd watch this.
I would watch this.
Yeah. One thing in my opinion that, like, as far as Jiminy Cricket, I think I would cast Martin Short.
Yeah. he is the most Jiminy Cricket looking person on the planet right now.
Yeah, I guess
I
I
think
can
you're
see
actually
him.
Wait, Martin
Yeah.
Short. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong person. I was thinking Martin Freeman when you said Martin Short. Let me... Got that Joe Fascia going on. Oh, I see that too.
Yeah,
He's very
I can see Martin
leprechaun-y.
Short doing it. Yeah, but I do like Gary Oldman for Geppetto. I think that works out perfect.
Yeah, he looks like it in my head for some reason.
Right?
I
You
don't know
get came to see him with like a little top hat and a cane and just doing his thing.
I dig that.
What about you guys? Anything you remember from Pinocchio that we could kind of like alter to make work in this movie?
I'm trying to think of Pinocchio's story. I mean, obviously, I know the background, telling lies.
What year are we looking at for this recreation? Because obviously the original Pinocchio was what, back in like the
40.
15
1940s?
something. Yeah.
Oh, was it? So like older.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's an old story. I don't know. In my head, like the way I'm picturing it, it feels like it's a 1930s setting, like New York 1930s instead of Italy and 15 whatever.
So the story begins in Tuscany workshop. See, it doesn't give a year though.
Yeah, I forget exactly. I think based on the clothing in the animated version that it was like 1580 something, but I can't remember everything.
Okay. Fun fact: Pinocchio made $84.2 million at the box office,
Jeez.
and it only took $2.2 million to make it.
I'm
So fun fact there.
It cost $2 million to make it?
Yep.
In
2.2
1940 money?
Yep.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Let's see here. Player transformed into donkeys.
Literally can't wrap my mind around that.
Yeah. Cool. Anyone have anything else to add to Pinocchio's live action movie?
No.
All right. Joy, what did you say this was called?
Pinocchio, Queen of Lies.
Cool. Oh yeah. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I'll mention it now. As soon as we're done discussing all this and everything, I'm putting up a Twitter poll, and we're gonna have Twitter, I guess, vote on which movie sounds most entertaining to them.
Nice.
Yeah. So I thought that'd be a little fun thing to do. Joey, good job. I liked it. I like the cast.
Thank you.
Yeah, that would be a movie I would watch, and I would enjoy that.
It's definitely improved by the group.
Yeah, right. Because we're a team here, you know. I want to be a team, and we're becoming a great team here. We're becoming film creators, I guess. We're creating films right now. Because this movie will be made in like 5 years by somebody else who came up with the idea on their own.
Right. By listening to our podcast.
Exactly. Mr. Vengeful Jedi, would you like to discuss Hunchback of Notre Dame?
Sure. So, my remake, we're calling it the Hunchback of Notre Dame Festival of Souls.
I like it already.
And I decided to add a little bit into the backstory of Quasimodo. Just a little bit, just to, make it a little bit more plausible. As far as cast, we have as the Archdeacon Claude Frollo, we have Sam Witwer, who, if you guys watch Once Upon a Time, he's Mr. Hyde.
Oh, fantastic.
He was Aiden Wait in Being Human.
It was Doomsday
Yes.
in Smallville.
Yes, and in the animated Star Wars Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, he's voiced Palpatine. In The Force Unleashed, he was the guy that voiced Darth Vader's apprentice.
Magnificent.
He had a small role as one of the army privates in The Mist, but he can pull off that sort of charismatic, but yet has that dark evil side, and I just immediately envisioned him for the role.
Fantastic.
As far as Quasimodo, I'm going with a bit of a dark horse selection here, and I'm picking Freddie Highmore, who is Norman Bates in Bates Motel.
Nice.
Along, and a lot of people remember him from like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Finding Neverland, and is like the cute little kid in all those. But now that he's all grown up, especially if you've seen him in Bates Motel, he's not so innocent.
Yeah. Holy moly.
And I think he can pull off what I'm hoping for this character. You actually have we're actually going to see Quasimodo's father in the beginning, who's going to be Christopher Maloney, who was in Oz. He was Stabler in Law & Order SVU. For our Esmeralda, we have Zoe Saldana, who's currently most known for Uhura in the latest Star Trek movies.
I considered her for my fairy.
Ah, nice. I was actually having a toss-up between her and Natalie Portman, but I felt that Zoe Saldana was a little bit more authentic to the role that I was, going for. For, like, the gargoyles, I actually made them women, and they're actually human.
Ooh.
In this one.
Nice.
Sort of like henchmen, evil companions, and so they are Victoria, Helga, and Laverne, who will be played by Charlize Theron, Olivia Wilde, and Lana Parrilla. Again, for people who watch Once Upon a Time, Lana Parrilla is Regina Mills. She was also in Boomtown. She played Teresa Ortiz, and she was Angie on Spin City.
Gotcha.
And I'm kind of in love with her, so I had to throw her in somewhere. For Captain Phoebus, I actually went with The Rock.
Ooh.
There we go. Can't have a Disney movie without The Rock anymore.
Nope.
Yeah.
And then just as random guards, I have Terry Crews, Ving Rhames, and Vin Diesel.
Nice.
But they're more unnamed. I just threw them in there because it would be funny to watch them falter. And I didn't get to write out the sequel yet, but they'll have a role in the sequel.
That's amazing.
So the story is going to begin with the birth of Quasimodo. And, we're going to get little flashes here and there. Basically, Quasimodo's mother was, beaten and abused by her alcoholic husband, a.k.a. Christopher Maloney. She actually dies during childbirth. But once you get to look at Quasimodo, you see that he's, deformed and everything. And, chances are he took a few lumps during, his mom getting beaten and stuff. He refuses to he takes one look at the kid, refuses to have anything to do with him, tells the doctors, just do whatever the hell you want with him. Of course, they can't just leave him to die, Hippocratic oath and all.
Right.
So they bring him and deliver him to the doorstep of St. Jude's Church, with St. Jude being the patron saint of desperation in hopeless cases.
Right.
So, years later, we skip ahead and we see Archdeacon Frollo. The annual Festival of Fools is approaching, and he's really getting into the festival because it always brings a lot of attention and, a little donation, a little money into the church. Except he's got some extra plans for this year's festival. He wants to incite a series of grisly murders to help drive the townspeople to seek sanctuary at the church. Because there he can sort of rally everybody together, and he plans to use a message of dissension to basically tear the town down to its foundation and be the one right there to help rebuild, and just sort of be its leader.
Nice. Maybe acquire some more land for the cathedral.
Yeah.
I dig that.
Yeah, I mean we're talking like religious cult grounds on like a massive scale.
Yeah, it's almost like an evil Pillars of the Earth.
Something like that. But then, of course, what's his chosen weapon? Quasimodo, the creature that he's hidden, in the corridors beneath the church since he first arrived on the doorstep. Kept isolated, and he doesn't know any better, but he obviously the archdeacon's telling him, look, you're like my son, but I'm doing all of this to protect you. And I kind of kept that element from the original movie, just for the dynamic of the relationship. But as we see Frollo starting to put his plans together, he sends out Quasimodo to commit the first of the murders. And he's got specific targets. It's not just a random, person. The first, we see a prostitute getting it on with her John, and they're going at it so intensely that neither one notices Quasimodo come in there, slits the guy's throat, punches her in the face and knock her out. Then he cuts off the dude's schlong and shoves it down her throat and chokes her.
Holy moly!
Yeah.
Pretty intense.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I like it then. No, keep going. Keep going. I'm
Okay. Okay, so then we're going to cut immediately to murder number 2, who was just a dancer in the troupe that was set to perform at the festival. And I actually should say that this is around the later 19-teens, 1920s.
Okay.
And back then, a lot of women used a concoction of vinegar, chalk, and arsenic to help whiten the skin.
Oh, yeah.
And what Quasimodo does in this case is he adds pretty much an extra lethal dose of arsenic to the concoction. So just totally poisons her.
Nice.
And who discovers this body other than our young gypsy type dancer Esmeralda?
Nice.
And after going to the authorities, she feels that the only place where she can go right then to seek some sanctuary and solace is the church. So she goes, and Quasimodo is back, and he's there and watching her within the walls, and he's immediately smitten by her, and he starts feeling lonely again and wants to be with her, and decides that the only way that he's going to get to keep her and be with her is to find a way to pin the murders on her to get her to want to flee, and then he can offer her sanctuary. So,
That's awesome.
things progress. She's roaming the ground. She discovers, and Quasimodo's trying to figure out, how he's gonna, approach her and try to figure everything out. But what he didn't expect is, she starts wandering around, finds a hidden door that brings her down into the, into the little caverns or corridors, whatever you want to call them, where he's at. Comes across him, which, he doesn't know what to do. He's, but he does reveal himself to her, and,
Nice.
she's initially scared, but she eventually takes pity, and she follows him into his little like sanctuary where he stays. After some time together, she wants to leave, but she's promising, hey, I'll come back, and we'll have more time. Only from all of the years of mistreatment and isolation and sudden fear, he ain't letting her leave. He
Right.
just snaps, and he ain't gonna let her leave. So, she's trying to push away from him and everything, and he tries to grab her, and he's trying to subdue her, and he accidentally strangles her to death.
Oh, nice.
So then Frollo goes to check on Quasimodo and discovers Esmeralda's lifeless body. He and Quasimodo get into this major confrontation, and Quasimodo is just, still filled with rage and just snaps, and he's not going to let anybody else just keep him captive and isolated anymore. Just kills Frollo, just repeatedly bashes his head into the stone wall, and it just pretty much explodes like a melon.
Right.
And yeah, I've given this a little bit of thought, and I've seen one too many horror movies.
I love food, so I'm digging the comparisons here.
Nice. Yeah, so at this point, he's going to leave his confinement, and he decides that he wants to join the world above and find his companion. And that's actually as far as I got with the story. So I didn't even get to incorporate my 3 hot chicks yet.
Wow.
I did. Now, quick question. Actually, quick fun fact. Budget of the movie was $100 million. Box office, $325 million. So, Hunchback of Notre Dame did pretty good. But I have a quick question about casting. If still alive, would you have casted Alan Rickman as the judge?
Ooh.
That's who I thought about when I first said we should do Hunchback of Notre Dame or Notre Dame. I was like, if still alive, I think Alan Rickman would have played a good judge. I
totally would have put him in, and honestly, he was my first choice for Archdeacon Frollo.
Really?
But because I was trying to keep with people who were still alive.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So,
That's what I'm saying. Like, if alive, it's just like, when I think of Judge from Hunchback, I think very similar to how he played Snape. It's just that kind of dark, gloomy. Yeah, but obviously, no. We want to stick to people still alive. If anything, it's more realistic that way for when these movies do get made because we are so fucking good at this.
Oh yeah.
But no, I liked it. It was detailed, and it definitely is not like. And to anyone who loves Disney movies and feel that we're butchering them with our concepts of it, chill out, okay? Because they're. These are movies that I would listen, that I would go and watch. Especially the whole chopping the dong off and force feeding it to a passed out hooker.
Right?
How often do you see that in a movie,
Is that public domain yet? Can we make that?
Yeah, this needs to be a thing. We need to investigate this. And note, I left it on a bit of a cliffhanger with room for a sequel. It could end that way. Mm-hmm. It could just end and just be done that way. Kind of like the first Matrix.
Right.
But if need be for a sequel, then it starts off with him in the world, or it can follow like that immediate moment, like Halloween 2, where it starts off with like bringing Jamie Lee Curtis to the hospital from that first night. Mm-hmm. You could just pick it up right there, or it could just be done.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I think leaving a cliffhanger like that to continue on a sequel from that point would be perfect. And that's what I like more about sequels. I like a sequel that continues from that point, not like 2 years later, 4 years later, 5 years later, 20 years later, like Dumb and Dumber. But it's like that moment, like from there until there. That's what I like. Um, Anyone else have any ideas or thoughts or any casting ideas or anything?
I do not. He actually did a really good job.
Yeah.
Right, right, and you gotta follow that, Colin.
I know.
Okay, and we that was called Hunchback Notre Dame Festival of Souls.
Yes.
Perfect. Colin, you're up with Aladdin.
Okay. So
Now be gentle. Aladdin's my favorite.
it's it's completely different now.
It was your favorite.
Hey, who knows? It may still be after this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll name off my cast first.
Hmm.
It's called Aladdin: The Stolen Son.
Ooh.
Now is that
S-O.
son is S-U-N or S-O-N?
S-O-N.
S-O-N.
Yeah. Aladdin is going to be played by Ezra Miller.
Nice.
He's from Perks of Being a Wallflower, and
Yes.
that's I know he's in other movies.
Yeah, he's gonna be the Flash coming up here.
Is he? Okay. So the future Flash. Jasmine is going to be played by Kristen Bell, which we should all know who Kristen Bell is.
Mm-hmm.
Genie will be played by Anthony Hopkins. Sultan is going to be played by Christopher Walken. And Jafar will be played by Gary Busey.
Dude, that's awesome.
So Aladdin's not what you think he is. He's actually the Sultan's son.
Oh.
Who is now? I know I'm probably gonna get heat for this, but he's mentally handicapped. I mean, to the extreme.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
he talks to his faithful sidekick, Abu, which is a potato.
Wait, did you just say a potato?
A potato. Kristen Bell is actually the Sultan's secretary.
Oh wow.
Nice.
For him. Genie, Anthony Hopkins, is an old homeless guy. And Iago is Jafar's pet rat.
That's tremendous. This is wow. You went sucker punch with this.
I like how the guy from Silence of the fucking Lambs. This fucking movie.
Okay, so it starts out with and so the Sultan Christopher Walken is a billionaire businessman. This all takes place in the city of New York. And because of Aladdin's unique personality, Christopher Walken doesn't really talk about his son, and so many people do not know about his son. So what happens is Aladdin is out one day out on the balcony of their high-rise building and talking to Abu, the potato, and is looking down on the streets of New York. And there's a parade that's going on and has all these different kinds of floats and all that. And you're talking about a really big high-rise, so he can't really tell what any of the things are. But he sees a green float or like giant balloon blow up thing that they do at the floats go by, and he decides that he wants to have that. So while the Sultan, Christopher Walken, is in his business meeting, he goes out, he sneaks out of the building, and the security guards, I mean, they notice him leave, but they don't know who he is. But they're just kind of like happy that he's leaving. So, because they think that he's just some stranger that walked into the building. So Aladdin goes out chasing after this float, which is, by the time he gets down to the street level, the float's gone. And he ends up, I mean, he's still looking around for it everywhere. And he's completely lost. Nobody's paying attention to him. And Jafar, Aladdin ends up down on the subway train of New York, where coincidentally he runs into Jafar, played by the one and only Gary Busey.
Which makes me laugh a lot, by the way. I thought about Gary Busey for Geppetto.
And as I said, I mean, as we know in the original Aladdin, Iago is Jafar's like sidekick parrot. Gary Busey is actually keeps a pet rat in his torn up trench coat that he just talks to and has conversations with. What comes to find out within the story is Jafar is the Sultan's pretty much black sheep brother, that they don't want anything to do with him because he's kind of nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So Jafar notices Aladdin, and he instantly knows who he is because they're family. Talks to Aladdin and basically gives himself, or I guess gives confidence in Aladdin to trust Jafar as trust him and listen to what he has to say and all that. And what ends up happening is basically Aladdin gets Stockholm syndrome. For those that don't know, it's where when you're kidnapped, you start basically, believing the or
Trusting the kidnapper.
yeah, trusting your kidnappers, and basically you almost think they're family. I mean, there's cases where you can believe that they're actually family, depending on the situation that you're in. You trust them, you listen to them, and what happens is this happens. Jafar takes him to his abandoned storage warehouse where the homeless people live, and Sultan realizes after his meeting that his one and only special son has gone missing.
Gotcha.
Be found. Kristen Bell, Jasmine, who is at the front of the top floor with the Sultan, sitting at the front of the floor by the elevator to is the secretary for him. She obviously knows who he is because of the working so close with the Sultan.
Mm-hmm.
Is then the Sultan asks Jasmine for a task to go and search for his son, and not to let anybody know who he is because they don't want it getting out and ruining the business. She's like the hipster style girl, and she agrees to it. She demands a significant bonus for having to do this because he couldn't keep track of his own son and the way he treats him. To find Aladdin, and and Jasmine is the one with the magic carpet in this.
Does it match your magic drapes?
Yeah. No. Her magic carpet is actually one of those electric skateboards. If you've seen one of those.
I have.
So that's how she just cruises around town in between the traffic and all that. And she goes to just drives around town asking around if they've seen. She doesn't explain who he is, just characteristics of him and stuff. While all this is happening, Jafar is like I said, building confidence in Aladdin to trust him and all that, and has Aladdin start doing these tasks of just the petty thief stuff, robbing the small stuff and all that. But ends up taking a bigger eye to try and rob the Sultan himself. His brother wants to steal his, basically, a giant diamond that he has on display in his conference room. Pardon me for coughing. So, what ends up happening is while Aladdin's out actually doing these small-time jobs for Jafar, Belle's actually hears while she's roaming the streets on her electronic skateboard that some weird guy talking to a potato has been breaking into places and stealing stuff. So what ends up happening is she just is following the clues and ends up one time actually because there's been a pattern of what's being stolen and stuff, so she figures out what will possibly be stolen next and ends up sitting out there and sees him breaking into it. Well, she ends up following him back to Jafar's place and overhearing the plan to rob the Sultan and steal from him. So she figures the plan is going to be to wait for him to go do this. But while she's sitting there waiting, the homeless guy, who's played by Anthony Hopkins, rolls up, and he says, he says his name is Genie, which is, he's just a crazy old man on the streets that calls himself Genie. And like, yeah, I could get you anything you want, blah, blah, blah. Basically like one of those guys in prison that like, hey, you need this, talk to me, I'll get it for you.
Right. Totally.
So he's one of those guys. Has a way of getting you things that you need.
Nice.
So Jasmine becomes friends with Genie, and they travel around together, while Aladdin does these other small time jobs, and Jasmine's obviously on her electric skateboard, while Genie sits in his shopping cart while she pushes him around. Uh, and then it ends up where Aladdin finally goes to do the main job and break into his dad's business. And while they're breaking in, Jasmine goes and tells, because she has the clearance, she goes up and tells the Sultan before Aladdin gets there. What ends up happening is this happens at night, and what ends up happening is while Aladdin's trying to sneak in, he trips an alarm. And he's going up like on a maintenance way up to the top floor, and as he's going, he keeps tripping alarms. Well, because this happens, the police get called to the building, and end up they figure that he's going up to the top floor because of who is there, and this really high businessman, and nobody knows who's doing this besides Jasmine and the Sultan. Police get up there, confront him, and he ends up not. Aladdin ends up not being able to complete his mission because, as I said before, he is mentally handicapped. Gets scared when he comes out of the vent that he climbed out of to get back in, and starts throwing stuff at the cops because they obviously run into him because they're already waiting up there for him. Well, it ends up happening that one of the police has a itchy trigger finger and accidentally shoots Aladdin dead, and the Sultan runs to him, cradling in his arms. Is unable to save him. And then after that happens, the police go. I mean, obviously the medical, all that comes and all that. Ends up in the end, Christopher Walken has a press conference and addresses the situation that happens in this building, and tells them that Aladdin is his son and was shot by the police, stating that the police did their job, and for their protection they shot him, and that's how it ends.
Fantastic.
You know what popped into my head when you said that he was standing up to do the press conference?
Mm-hmm.
I imagine him standing up to look at a deck of cards or his like notes and stuff, just looking up and being like, "I am Iron Man."
No, he's not Iron Man.
I was you could do the same story with Christian Bale and it would actually just be Batman.
I like the Colin. It was a complete. That wasn't even like a left turn. It's like you fucking Yui'd that shit, bro.
I hope it was good.
It was good. I liked it. It was funny. It had a good cast. It was sad. You're a sick man.
I don't like the whole love story where Jasmine and Aladdin fall in love.
Oh, trust me. Yeah, there's no love in this fucking
No,
over.
there would not be any.
All right, you said it was called Aladdin, Stolen Son.
Yeah, the Stolen Son. It's called the Stolen Son because Jafar, because he knows who he is kidnapping him, and taking him as his own.
Hmm.
Oh, and by the way, Jafar gets off scot-free because there's no proof.
Good. I'm tired of people getting in trouble and shit.
Yeah.
Well, I liked it. They were all good shows. All good cast, all good plot lines. Now it's gonna be time for the Twitter world to decide on which movie they prefer to listen to or watch, if you will. I'll put that poll up a little bit later, so they can do that and everything. I'll pin it up to our page, so it'll be up there. We'll keep it up there for like a week or so, just kind of get those votes really coming in. Real quick, because I know we're getting towards the end of the show and everything. We actually had a couple users of our hashtag on Twitter.
Did we?
Yeah, two of them actually came from our guest on tonight's show, and another one came from a guy called Mr. Ace. Real quick, Mr. Ace, I guess his was it Twitter handle is late F Ace. I guess I don't know. I'm horrible with this shit. He uses a Twitter account. He actually became our 1800th follower.
Oh, fantastic.
On Twitter. So I kind of said, like, thanks for that. And he put at Freakin Show, glad to help you out. It'll be 2,000 in no time, which I'm counting on. I mean, we've been doing this now for about 8 months now, and we hit about 1,800. So I'm excited to keep going with that. And the Vengeful Jedi. You used our hashtag on Twitter to mention a couple movies to us. Can you explain what The Boy is?
Okay, so The Boy, well, Joe was actually doing a pretty good job on the last episode describing it. But basically, it's this woman that's brought into this house to be the caretaker nanny for this boy, but it's actually a doll, and the doll is fashioned after the son of this older couple, which the son died years ago.
Yeah.
And there's this very rigid set of rules that that she has to follow. The parents go away on holiday, and when she stops following the rules, things start to happen around the house.
Okay.
And, basically starts, coming after her. And it was okay. The main actress in the movie was Lauren Cohan, whom mostly everybody recognizes as Maggie from The Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I haven't seen it. I really want to see it, so.
It was okay. I mean, I thought the twist, like, there's a big twist in the movie, and I thought it was kind of predictable just because I've seen way too many movies.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still enjoyable to see it played out on screen. And I liked the take that they took on it.
Fantastic.
Gotcha. And real quick, you want to kind of describe Frailty?
Yes, Frailty, which I actually immediately thought of when you guys were talking about Matthew McConaughey and trying to think of more serious movies that he's done. And this was it. It was actually directed by Bill Paxton.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and he was one of the main actors in the movie. And basically what it is well, it jumps between present and past. In all of the past, which is where you spend most of the movie, you have Bill Paxton as this father of these two young sons. He basically the voice of God speaks to him and tells him that, they have to go out and kill demons that are masquerading around as normal people. And one of the kids is, all for it, and, God's talking to us, we have to help Dad, and, the other kid's, set against these, no, Dad's batshit crazy, we're not we can't do this. He's killing people, not demons. And it's really good. And then in the more present scenes, it's one of the kids all grown up talking to the police, telling them everything that happened. And there's another twist at the end of this one, and I really liked it because maybe it was just at the time I didn't see it coming, but even having seen the movie numerous times since, I really liked it. But it is very interesting.
Yeah, it sounds like what is it called? What was that Jeff Bridges and Ryan Reynolds movie?
Oh shit, I forget.
R.I.P.D. or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like what that should have been. By which I mean a good movie.
Yeah, which I haven't seen that one just because I've heard
liked it.
many I don't know.
I
I've heard
it.
many
It's just-
mixed things.
Yeah.
It's one of those. It's in my category of movies I would watch if it was like 2 a.m. on a Friday night and I was really sleepy and it was on TNT.
Yeah,
I would watch that movie.
Play in the background.
Or like it's like Pacific Rim, R.I.P.D. Anything like late 80s, early 90s with Van Damme, Jean-Claude Van Damme, or any of the action heroes of that time period.
like Steven Seagal.
Right, whose name I couldn't remember, so I'm glad you said it. So, yeah, I call them movies my dad would watch to fall asleep on a Friday night. Not necessarily bad movies, not necessarily good movies.
Your dad is the only guy I know who fucking falls asleep at somebody else's Super Bowl party during the football game with a beer balanced on his leg. Doesn't even have to hold it. Just it's there so when he wakes up he can grab a sip real quick.
Talented man.
Only guy. Yeah. We're sitting there, we're at a Super Bowl party having a good time. Clint, if you didn't know, me and Joey are stepbrothers.
Okay.
So this is why I'm hanging out with his dad, because his dad is my dad. We're at a Super Bowl party having a good time. Everyone's laughing, having a good time. We're doing bets and shit like that. We go to ask Carl if he wants to get on the pool, and he is passed out on the fucking couch during the football game while everyone else having a good time. My mom was like, oh my fucking God. No way. But he always does that. He tells me, like, he goes to baseball games. He can fall asleep in the seats.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He won't fall asleep during NASCAR, though. I'll tell you that much.
Dude, I can fall asleep in the craziest places. I don't think I've fallen asleep at a sporting event. I have fallen asleep at a Super Bowl party. I've fallen asleep many times at movie theaters.
Been there.
Once after a midnight show, my friends thought it would be funny to leave me in the theater.
Oh,
So
jeez.
I wake up to an empty theater and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Nobody even even the workers didn't get you.
No, only because apparently they were hiding outside the theater and told the workers what was going on, and they thought it was fucking hilarious. They were all in.
That's hilarious.
Oh, it was great. And I remember, too, it was like they were doing a special midnight screening of The Crow, and this was like a few years after it had originally come out. But yeah, I was just wiped, long day, fell asleep. I'd already seen the movie before, so I didn't care.
Gotcha.
But then I wake up, like, theater's empty. I'm like, oh, shit. I'm starting to think of everything like, wait a minute. I didn't drive. How the hell am I going to get home? And
Yikes.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
I
that's
was like, I don't have money for a cab. Oh, shit.
Jeez.
Good
Clint,
friends.
man.
Good friends.
Clint, I'm glad you came on and did this with us, man, because this was a blast.
Oh, dude, this was great. We definitely need to collaborate and do more.
Absolutely. Why? Because I would love, in the future, get you back on here and kind of just talk to you, like, get to know you more, get to know your podcasting and, like, your history in podcasting a little bit more, too. Because, I mean, I listen to your podcast, man, and I enjoy them. And, I mean, obviously, no disrespect in any way to your co-host and everything, but, I mean, you kill it when you're on your own.
Oh, you mean the co-host that I currently no longer have?
Well,
Oh, seriously?
Todd's computer basically blew up, so he's taking a hiatus from podcasting.
Gotcha.
However, the episode that I just put out like yesterday, my buddy Skip, he's going to be filling in the meantime. But yeah, dude, I have had just the worst shit luck with co-hosts.
You know, I never wanted to ask, but I know I heard you mention a couple times about your original co-host. Like there was some bad blood or something like that.
Oh, that was the second and third co-hosts.
See, I would love if you're willing to. I'd love to get you back on and kind of just talk about these because I love hearing stories about other people.
Yeah, Chris, my original first co-host, the only reason that he had to back out of the show was because he ended up picking up another job because his wife was pregnant and getting ready to have a baby. Mm-hmm. And he found another job, but we just couldn't find the time to make it work. And
yeah, that happens.
Then I went solo for a while, then, brought some other guys in, but we'll get into that story.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you're at episode 91 now, so you're not that far off from 100.
Actually, we just released 94.
Oh, wow.
You need to update your website then, bro.
Yeah, things have been a little bit chaotic between when I went to Florida and I ended up buying a laptop right when I came back because my computer died like right before the trip.
Oh, wow.
You guys have really good luck, it sounds like.
Oh, dude, honestly, I'm surprised I made it this far.
Oh, man.
But now everything, and then I'm sitting here trying to record with people, and like our internet was cutting out, and it turns out that it was a bad line coming in, so I had to have the guy come out and fix that. And
that sucks.
Oh, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
If podcasting weren't a passion of mine,
right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm glad I'm doing this now. I mean, like because we're sitting at episode 35, so I mean, like we're miles behind you, but.
Yeah. But I can say I've listened to all 35, and I'm really loving where you guys are going with it. So
let me ask you.
Very kind of you.
Do you have one that is like the absolute worst one? I mean, like I want you to be honest with me because I hate the part 1 of the Oscars just for how it sounded.
I mean, if I'm gonna go for audio quality, and things like that, and just audio hiccups and things like that,
You love like 4 of them then?
that one does stick out as far as
Right. That was a weird one, and we gotta do this. I think one day we're just gonna banter the shit out with both our podcasts because I think we got a lot of fun talking about it. The highs and lows of the shows, and especially I mean, obviously since you have 3 times the shows we do, I'm assuming you're gonna have 3 times the stories, and I would love to hear every single one of them.
And two, it's hard for me to say that I particularly hate or dislike an episode, not just because I'm sitting here talking to you guys and I actually like you guys, but it's more as a podcaster, I can understand where things can totally come into play, like when you were talking about that last episode and just kind of not really being into it and things just like dragging burden down, like I can kind of pick up on that, and it I could see where it came across a little bit, but I've been there. I understand that. And because I do, I can look past it and, still enjoy whatever is there.
Yeah. Well, see, like, the biggest thing with me, and it's a good and a bad thing, I guess, with me. Like, when I do stuff, like, I want to try doing it the best of my ability. I want to try getting out there. I want it to be perfect. At the same time, I want to put out what I would love to hear. And I get, like, with the last episode, I mean, like, personally, I was listening to it, and I was like, this could be so much better. There could be so much more life into it. I know we could do a lot better, and that's what kept bugging me because if I'm not gonna do anything right, I don't want to do it at all. And I love doing this. I love getting on here. I love talking. I love bullshitting. I mean, I have a lot to say, and sober is kind of but when I drink, it is magnificent.
It is true.
But it's like. I mean, like with last week's show, it just bummed me out. Like it wasn't a horrible show. I mean, like I mean, I listen to it. I recommend going and listen to it because we have a lot of good concepts on movies and stuff. It just I know there could have been more excitement into it, and like I said, like we didn't promote the other podcast like I would like to keep doing. We didn't plug the band like I wanted to, and we didn't do our week freak that I wanted to keep doing consistently. And those are the things I want to try avoiding for the future. Um, but I mean, I love doing this podcasting. I love listening to your podcast. I listen to you weekly. Even I don't obviously I don't know the numbers, but if it pops up on because I
Yeah.
subscribe to you on iTunes, so as
Oh,
soon as
okay.
as soon as it pops up in the week, I don't pay attention to the number. I just go right into it. Which, by the way, I love the Duke Nukem thing at the beginning.
Oh, thanks. I was just looking up random clips one night, and I came across that, and I was like, yes, K-Tit.
I love every time I hear it, I laugh and I hit that little 15-second rewind just to hear it one more time. Just because
Yeah.
it is so funny. But it's like I listen to so many podcasts. Like I said, like because I mean my drive to and from work is an hour each, and I listen to one podcast on the way there, one podcast on the way back, and obviously I'll finish them out too because some do go over.
Unless you listen to one of my like longer episodes, and then you listen to that for like 2 days straight.
And that's the thing too, like because sometimes like I'll go on longer trips and like Joey, Joey's a co-host on Geek Cast Live as well. And they did one show, it was like 2.5 hours long.
Oh wow.
True.
Yeah, so I mean, and I listened to it. It felt like I didn't even was even driving. It just went by so quick. Which, by the way, Joey, I'm pissed on your show because you guys did not do the mixed drinks like you were going to on that show. You're waiting for a later date. That pissed me off.
You know what? I don't know if I should be giving up trade secrets over the air, but the audio cut out because Rob screwed up. So it cut off because that was where the audio quality ended.
I got you.
We don't even have the rest of that show. It doesn't exist.
Oh, perfect. That's my kind of thought it was. But I don't want to assume that. Yeah, real quick, because we're getting towards the end of the show. Real quick, Joey, what's your week freak?
Oh crap! I had an answer when I.
Colin, what's your week freak?
Thank you.
I don't have anything right now.
Clint, what's your week freak?
Did we lose the audio form again?
No.
Clint, you still there?
Oh, well, it was acting like he was here. I can go. I'm ready. I got it.
Joe, what's your week freak?
I'm really excited about the fact that oh, he's there he is. Selling plasma. Really excited about it. I'm really excited. I said this yesterday, and not that anyone knows, so I don't even have to say this, but I'm excited to play for Gen Con in blood. So, and I will never get tired of saying that. I'm going to be interviewing people. I'm going to be interviewing Mitch Gittleman from Hairbrained Schemes at Gen Con, and I'm going to be like, Mitch, I need you to know I paid for Gen Con in blood. And he's going to be like, that's really weird, dude, but you keep doing you.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, I mean, you're doing a good thing for good people, and I hear that plasma is more important than the blood itself.
That's what I've heard. But
Yeah.
I'm not doing it for other people. This is entirely selfish.
Yeah, well, nothing wrong with that. Colin, what's your week freak?
I'm finally going back down to Alabama for work.
Yeah,
Nice.
you're gonna be leaving us in a couple weeks.
I am.
Luckily, we got an idea to not skip a week, so lucky for that.
Yeah. So that's what I'm freaking out. I finally get to get more tropical smoothie cafe.
Woo!
There you
I love that.
go. Clint, you got a week freak for us?
Yeah. Two things actually. The upcoming Xbox Live Games with Gold. For the 360, they're getting Rainbow Six Vegas 2, which I absolutely love. So I have a few friends that are going to pick that up, and I can finally get back into some Terrorist Hunt. And this Thursday, we're having like a massive potluck at work, and I'm a huge fan of food. So
Awesome.
It's awesome, man. Yeah. my free week is that for the first time in a long time, and I'm ashamed to say it, but I'm going to say it anyways because I know you guys won't judge me, and if everyone else wants to judge me, that's their problem. This Friday, I got my first date in a long time.
Ooh.
So
I'm really excited for you.
So I met this girl, and we were talking for a little bit, and unfortunately, between her vacation and me having phones and everything, we never had an opportunity to really meet yet, but we're going to for the first time this Friday. We're going to take her out to dinner and talk and get to know her more. I actually told her that I do podcasting, so I hope she hears this show, which will actually be the day before our date, and she'll probably be like, my God, this guy's breathing way too much into this. Fuck this.
At which
I
point
told her-
you'll say right now, "Oh, that's not me. That's Colin."
No, I'm Geek Cast Joe. He wants me thinking, but cause I was telling her, I was like, yeah, we're doing Disney, kind of a Disney episode tonight. We're gonna recast Disney and do our plot switch. She's like, oh, that's so awesome! I can't wait to hear it. And then halfway through it, I texted back, I'm like, if you love Disney, don't listen to this. She's like, oh, really? I'm like, it took a turn really quick.
Oh, so you
I
you texted that?
Oh yeah. I was halfway through. I'm like, listen, I know you. Like, how badly do you like Disney? Because I would listen to this show. She's like, oh really? I'm like, because I don't want to fuck this up. But we'll see. I loved it. I'm sure.
You can
Oh yeah. I mean, she can listen to it all she wants. It's just.
just tell
I
her
don't
maybe
want
after your date.
Be prepared.
Yeah, I'll tell her to listen after because I don't want her to think like, oh, I'm going on a date with Travis. Let me listen to his podcast. Yeah, so he chopped up this dude's dick and shoved it up this hooker's mouth and. Like, oh.
Hey, technically,
so that's
I
what he's
can take
into.
responsibility for something.
Oh shit. Joey.
Yes, sir.
Every Thursday, our listeners can catch Geek Cast Joe here on this freaking show. But where can they find you on Saturdays?
On Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, you can find me at the Geekcast Live Podcast at geekcastlivepodcast.com/podcast. Or if you don't like that horribly long URL, you can go to gcl.ninja. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and SoundCloud by searching Geekcast Live.
Perfect. Clint,
Yes.
Vengeful Jedi. Once again, I appreciate you coming onto the show and having fun with us tonight.
Oh, dude, it was a pleasure. This was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, we're definitely doing it again. We're marking something down to get this. Where can our listeners find you at?
Well, the GeekDig podcast itself is on iTunes, Stitcher, the Satchel Player, Player FM, and Google Play. You can find us on Twitter at. You can find me either at Vengeful Jedi or at GeekDig Pod. The website is geekdigpod.com. You can always shoot me an email at geekdigpod@gmail.com. And there's also a Facebook page, facebook.com/geekdigpod. And then I'm also a co-host on two other podcasts. The Green Up Podcast, which is at greenuppodcast.com or at Green Up Podcast on Twitter. Or the Geek Up and Go podcast, which is at Geek Up and Go on Twitter. And the website, geekupandgo.com, is currently still under construction. There is an awesome logo I had absolutely nothing to do with creating, but I still want people to look at the logo because it's awesome. And both of those podcasts are on iTunes and Stitcher.
Fantastic.
Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, real quick before we get off the air here, I just want to remind you to stay tuned to the end of the show to listen to another song by a local band called Ripley Street. We played a song last week of theirs, and we're going to continue on to play another one this week. This one's going to be called Back Again, so stay tuned and listen to it. You can find them at ripleystreet.com, or you can look on Facebook at Ripley Street Music. And, of course, you can find This Freaking Show on iTunes, Podbean, and Stitcher just by searching This Freaking Show. If you go to iTunes, give us a 5-star review. Tell us how much you love us, because we love you. We love you to do that for us. Go to our website, thisfreakinshow.com. We have photos from cons we've been to. We got a little information on where we're going to be in the future, and you find a little bit about us. As always, I am Travesty.
I'm Awkward Colin.
And I'm Geekcast Joe.
And I'm Vengeful Jedi.
And thank you for tuning in to another episode of This Freaking Show. I'm out.
takes its toll. It's so heavy on my soul. I can clearly see everything in front of me. Found my space, no blinking. I standing in your place. I'm back again. Breathe, bleed, coursing through my veins. I'm back again. Yes, I am. Feel the beat, satisfaction guaranteed. No missing, no mistaking what you get. I'm back again. Back again. Bright lights, stormy nights.